Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a curious boy named Eli. Eli was known for his boundless imagination and his love for stories, often getting lost in the pages of books for hours on end. His favorite place in the world was an old library at the edge of the village, where stories seemed to come alive with every page turn. Among the many tales Eli had read, one mystery always remained unsolved: the legend of the Golden Book, said to hold secrets of unimaginable power. Eli had heard whispers about the Golden Book from the village elders, who spoke of it with both awe and caution. It was said to reside in a far-off place called the Magic Garden, guarded by strange creatures and hidden beyond the reach of ordinary travelers. Most people dismissed the legend as just that, a story, but Eli believed there was truth in it. He couldn't shake the feeling that the Golden Book was real and that he was meant to find it one day. As Eli sat in the library, leafing through a particularly old and dusty tome, he came across a passage he had never noticed before. It described a hidden path in the woods behind the village that led to a land unlike any other, a place where the rules of the world were different, where magic bloomed like flowers, and where ancient secrets awaited those brave enough to seek them out. Without a second thought, Eli decided that he would find the Magic Garden and uncover the Golden Book. He packed a small satchel with provisions, a lantern, and his favorite sword, a wooden one his father had carved for him when he was younger. Though it wasn't real, Eli liked to imagine it held magical properties of its own. The sun was setting as Eli made his way into the forest. The air was crisp, and the trees stood tall and silent, as if watching him pass. As he ventured deeper into the woods, the path became narrower and less defined, but Eli didn't waver. His heart raced with excitement at the thought of the adventure that lay ahead. After what felt like hours of walking, Eli noticed something strange. The forest around him seemed to change. The trees grew taller, and their leaves shimmered with a faint golden light. The ground beneath his feet became softer, as if the earth itself was alive. He realized he had crossed into a different world. This was no ordinary forest. This was the gateway to the Magic Garden. Suddenly, a voice echoed from somewhere above. "Who enters the realm of the Magic Garden?" Startled, Eli looked around but saw no one. "It's me, Eli," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm looking for the Golden Book." A rustling sound came from the bushes ahead, and to Eli's amazement, a small turtle emerged. But this was no ordinary turtle. It was wearing a tiny vest and glasses perched on the tip of its nose. Its eyes twinkled with wisdom far beyond its years. "Well, well," said the turtle, his voice deep and slow. "A seeker of the Golden Book. You're the first in many years. My name is Terrence, the keeper of the path. If you wish to find the Golden Book, you'll need my help." Eli knelt down to meet the turtle's gaze. "I'd be honored to have your help, Terrence." Terrence nodded sagely. "Very well. The journey to the Golden Book is no easy task. The path is filled with challenges, and the garden is protected by creatures both kind and fierce. But if you are brave and true of heart, you may succeed." Eli stood up straight, determination shining in his eyes. "I'm ready." With a slow, deliberate turn, Terrence began to lead the way deeper into the enchanted forest. The trees grew even taller, and strange plants with glowing petals lined the path. As they walked, Terrence explained the nature of the Magic Garden. "This place exists between worlds," he said. "It's where magic is born, where the very essence of life flows like a river. The Golden Book is said to contain the secrets of creation itself, written by the first beings who walked the earth. But it's not just the book that's important. It's what you do with the knowledge it holds." Eli listened intently, fascinated by the turtle's words. They walked in silence for a while, the only sound the soft crunch of leaves beneath their feet. As they rounded a bend, Eli caught sight of something magnificent in the distance, a towering gate made of twisted vines and silver flowers. Beyond it lay the Magic Garden. The gate shimmered with an ethereal glow, and as they approached, it slowly creaked open. Eli's breath caught in his throat. Inside, the garden was like nothing he had ever seen before. Trees with golden bark stretched toward the sky, their branches heavy with fruit that sparkled like gems. Flowers of every color imaginable bloomed along winding paths, their petals shimmering with a soft, otherworldly light. Streams of crystal-clear water flowed through the garden, their surfaces reflecting the sky like mirrors. "This is it," whispered Terence. "The magic garden." But before Eli could take another step, a shadow passed overhead. He looked up and saw a massive figure descending from the sky, a dragon, its scales gleaming like emeralds, its wings beating with a powerful rhythm. Eli's heart pounded in his chest as the dragon landed gracefully in front of him. "Do not be afraid," said the dragon in a deep, rumbling voice. "I am Eldrax, guardian of the magic garden. I sense that you are seeking the Golden Book." Eli nodded, his voice caught in his throat. "Yes," he managed to say. "I've come to find it." Eldrax lowered his head, his golden eyes studying Eli with great intensity. "The Golden Book is a treasure of unimaginable power. Many have sought it, but few have been worthy. To find it, you must prove yourself through 3 trials. Only then will the book reveal itself to you." Eli swallowed hard, but his resolve didn't falter. "What are the trials?" "The first trial," Eldrax began, "is the trial of courage. You must face your deepest fear. The second is the trial of wisdom, where you must solve a riddle that has baffled even the greatest minds. And the final trial is the trial of heart, where you must show compassion and kindness, even in the face of great danger." Eli felt a chill run down his spine, but he nodded in agreement. "I'm ready." Eldrax spread his wings, and with a single beat, he rose into the air, hovering above Eli and Terence. "Follow the path, young one. Your first trial awaits." With that, Eldrax soared into the sky and disappeared beyond the clouds. Eli looked down at Terence, who gave him an encouraging nod. "You've come this far, Eli," the turtle said. "You have the strength to see this through." Eli took a deep breath and stepped forward, following the path that wound through the magic garden. As he walked, the vibrant colors of the flowers and trees seemed to fade, replaced by a thick mist that swirled around him. The air grew cold, and the garden, once so full of life, now felt eerie and foreboding. Suddenly, Eli heard a sound, a low growl, deep and menacing. His heart raced as he turned to see a pair of glowing eyes staring at him from the mist. Slowly, the figure of a massive wolf emerged, its fur black as night, its teeth bared in a vicious snarl. Fear gripped Eli, but he stood his ground. This was the trial of courage. He couldn't run, couldn't hide. He had to face the wolf. The wolf growled louder, advancing toward him, its eyes burning with malice. Eli's hands trembled, but he gripped the hilt of his wooden sword tightly, reminding himself that this was only a test. "I'm not afraid of you," Eli said, though his voice shook. The wolf snarled, lunging at him, but Eli didn't move. He stood tall, staring into the wolf's eyes, refusing to give in to fear. The beast skidded to a halt just inches from him, its hot breath brushing against Eli's face. For a long, tense moment, the wolf simply stared at him, and then, slowly, it began to fade into the mist. Eli let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. The trial of courage was over. Terence emerged from the mist, a proud smile on his face. "Well done, Eli. You've faced your fear and come out stronger for it. Now, we must move on to the next trial." Together, they continued down the path, the mist gradually lifting as they approached a grand stone archway. Carved into the archway were ancient symbols, glowing faintly in the dim light. Beyond the archway was a grand courtyard, at the center of which stood a marble pedestal. Upon the pedestal was a scroll, its surface covered in strange, intricate writing. "This," said Terence, "is the trial of wisdom. You must solve the riddle written on the scroll to proceed." Eli stepped forward, his heart pounding with anticipation. He picked up the scroll and read the riddle aloud. "I am not alive, but I grow. I do not have lungs, but I need air. I have no mouth, yet I can drown. What am I?" Eli furrowed his brow, thinking hard. The answer was on the tip of his tongue, but he couldn't quite grasp it. He repeated the riddle to himself, breaking it down piece by piece. "I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I have no mouth, yet I can drown. Suddenly, it clicked. Fire, he exclaimed. Terrence smiled.
Correct.
Fire grows. It needs air to survive, and it can be extinguished by water. You've passed the trial of wisdom. Eli couldn't help but smile with relief. 2 trials down, 1 to go, but the final trial would be the hardest. As they continued down the path, the garden began to change once more. The flowers wilted, the trees became gnarled and twisted, and the sky darkened. The air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding, and Eli knew that the trial of heart was near. At the end of the path, they found a small clearing, and the center of the clearing was a large, round stone, and chained to the stone was a young girl, her eyes wide with fear. "Help me," the girl cried, struggling against the chains. "Please help me." Eli's heart ached at the sight of her. He ran forward, but as he reached the stone, a voice echoed through the clearing. "If you free her, you will fail the trial." Eli froze, looking around for the source of the voice.
"What do you mean?" he called out.
"She needs help." "She is not real," the voice replied. "She is a test. If you free her, the garden will fall into darkness, and the golden book will be lost forever. You must leave her." Eli's mind raced. The girl looked so real, so frightened. How could he leave her here, even if it was just a test? But if he freed her, he would fail, and everything he had worked for would be for nothing. He looked into the girl's eyes, and in that moment, he made his decision. "I'm sorry," Eli said softly. "I can't leave you like this." With a determined heart, he reached out and touched the chains. To his surprise, they crumbled away as soon as his fingers brushed against them. The girl stood up, her eyes no longer filled with fear, but with gratitude. "You have passed the trial of heart," she said, her voice warm and kind. "By showing compassion, even when it could cost you everything, you have proven yourself worthy." As the girl spoke, the garden began to transform. The dark, twisted trees became tall and beautiful once more. The flowers bloomed with vibrant colors, and the sky cleared to reveal a brilliant blue. Eli felt a warmth in his chest as the girl stepped forward and handed him a small, golden key. "This key will open the door to the golden book," she said. "Use it wisely." With the key in hand, Eli followed Terrence to the heart of the garden, where a grand door stood hidden behind a wall of ivy. Eli inserted the key into the lock, and with a soft click, the door swung open. Inside, bathed in golden light, was the golden book. It was larger than Eli had imagined, its cover adorned with intricate designs that seemed to shimmer with magic. As Eli reached out and touched the cover, the book opened on its own, revealing pages filled with ancient knowledge and secrets beyond imagination. But Eli knew that the power of the golden book was not in the magic it held, but in the choices he had made to find it. With a deep breath, Eli closed the book and looked at Terrence. "Thank you for guiding me." The wise old turtle smiled.
"You did well, Eli.
"Now, go and share what you've learned with the world." Eli nodded and began his journey back to the village, the golden book safely tucked under his arm, knowing that his adventure was just beginning.